Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to the Sweetwater Minute. Fusion, rock, and jazz drummer Chad Wackerman was here at GearFest 2016, and our own Nick DiVirgilio had a chance to sit down and chat with him. Check this out.
How you doing, everybody? Nick DiVirgilio here, Sweetwater GearFest 2016, and I have a very special guest in the studio with me, Chad Wackerman, killer drummer. I'm such a big fan, man. Thanks for hanging out with us and taking some time to talk.
It's an honor to be here. I appreciate it.
Have you been to Sweetwater before? Or
no,
know
it's
much
my
about
first time here at GearFest.
What do you think of the place?
It's an unbelievable little city in a in a kind of musical.
We kind of call it Disneyland for gear. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a pretty unique place. Let's you've been a drummer your whole life, and you come from a very musical family.
I do.
So your father plays drums. Your brothers are both your brothers play drums, or just
three brothers.
Brooks? You have three other brothers.
I'm the oldest, and Bob is a bass player and music producer.
Right.
John is a drummer and mallet player.
Okay.
And
then Brooks, of course,
plays drums and guitar.
Cool. So, I mean, how was it, growing up in a family like that? Well, everybody around, everybody playing music all the time. What was it like?
It was that. It kind of wrapped it up. We each played two instruments when we were growing up.
Okay.
We had our main instrument, then Dad always thought it was a good idea to play a second one as well. So, but yeah, there's a big age difference between I'm the oldest and Brooks is about 17 years younger.
Wow.
So there's a big gap there, but the other brothers were closer in age, 2 or 3 years. So, but yeah, it was great.
Was your father your first drum teacher?
Yeah, he was my first drum teacher. Then eventually we went to drum teachers together.
Okay.
So we went to Murray Spivak together for many years. A great, amazing guru teacher, and who just really straightened out my hands. And then Chuck Flores, also who was also a student of Murray's when he was younger, and learned separate things, more drumming independence and chart reading from Chuck, then more all about hands and orchestral snare drum reading. And there's a website called drumchannel.com, which Don Lombardi runs, which I'm sure you know about. It's a wonderful website, and I did a 30-episode masterclass series on Murray's teaching.
Nice.
On his teaching system, because it wasn't very well documented. I thought it was so important. There were so many guys who just, his system changed their lives and helped them not have any problems playing rock and roll or jazz or any kind of volume or level, just because it was a system of relaxation, So that was really worthwhile. So it was nice. My dad, it was great for me too, because I would take the first lesson with Murray, and then Dad would take the next hour. So I'd hear it twice, so it really kind of sunk in more.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
So I imagine all of that training and being with the musical family kind of just developed you and your style and kind of got you set for your musical career, I imagine, yeah? Because you've had some pretty amazing gigs over your life, some very difficult music and straight ahead stuff as well too. So how did all that prepare you for those gigs?
I was lucky in a few other ways. I went to a few summer camps that were amazing. One was a Stan Kenton clinic. Okay. Stan Kenton's band would be the residence teachers at a university for a week or 2 weeks. And so that's where I met Peter Erskine. Before him, met other great drummers, John Von Olen and Gary Hobbs and all those great, amazing players. And one year I went to a Don Ellis clinic and met Ralph Humphrey. Okay. And Don Ellis's band was amazing at playing. It was a big band with a string section, and he was very much into Indian music. So they played a lot of odd time stuff. And that's kind of where I first
started getting into that stuff.
Yeah, and studied Ralph a lot. And then Ralph went from that to Zappa's band.
Okay.
So that and just school orchestra stuff and big bands and bunch of jazz festivals and
that's great.
And played as much as I could.
Of course. Now, before we get into your gigs and stuff, so you're an educator as well. You've done a lot of teaching. Obviously, you did the Murray Spivak thing on the drum channel. But are you still teaching now these days?
I am. Yeah, private students, and I teach the jazz studies department drum set players at Cal State Long Beach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you remember. I actually came to you for a couple of lessons. It was ages ago now. It's kind of probably maybe the early '90s.
Right.
Came to your were you living in the Valley back then?
Yeah, I lived in North Hollywood.
In North Hollywood, okay, so.
Up until 94, I moved to Australia, moved to Sydney for 10 years.
That's right, I remember hearing that, yes, right.
Then moved back to Long Beach after that.
Okay, so it was in the Valley that I came and saw you. Yeah. So now let's get into your career. You've had some amazing gigs. Frank Zappa being a big one, Steve Vai, and many, many others. How was it playing for Frank Zappa? I mean, I know the audition process was hard, and I'm sure, but you got to play with such amazing musicians. And everybody that I've talked to that has played with Frank over the years say it was an amazing experience.
Yeah, it was a life-changing experience. Yeah. It was musically changing, and I mean, there was so much we all learned from it.
Sure.
Just one thing was that, I mean, he really got himself in a situation where he could do what he wanted to do without any restrictions.
Right. And that's pretty rare. A lot of people don't
pretty
get that.
rare. He was also brilliant.
No, that's that helps.
He's an amazing classical composer and an amazing rock composer and a very unique guitar player. And you know, he had all these amazing talents that was wrapped up into Frank Zappa. So, and he was really a great leader. And I don't know if there's as many. I know there's not as many great leaders around these days. You know, people in the jazz world say that Miles Davis was above everything when they worked with him. Like the thing that hit them, he was just a great leader and knew how to mold his band and how much information to give them and how much not to give them.
Sure.
Frank would do the same, you know, but he was not lacking of musical ideas, that's for sure.
You guys had to memorize a lot, right? There was no reading on the gigs, right? He expected you guys to show up and play those parts.
Rock and roll lighting. So, so sometimes there'd be strobe stuff. You couldn't read. There was, and the other reason you couldn't read is because he changed up the music all the time with visual cues. So you couldn't have your face in a music stand. It was not possible. So we would leave, you know, I think in 81 we left with about 85 songs memorized. By the end of 82, we had over 100 tunes memorized. And each tour kind of grew on that, even though there were different bands. In 84, different band in 88, with big horn section. The Fowler Brothers, which are like the ultimate horn section. I mean, they don't need a rhythm section. Their time is so good.
Crazy good, yeah.
They all just groove. Horn players that groove. It's unbelievable.
Awesome.
So
very cool. And you played with Allan Holdsworth for a long time. I saw you play many gigs with Allan Holdsworth back in the days, all around Southern California. So
I was very lucky to meet Allan and jump on his tours as well.
Nice. I even know that most recently that you were out with Steven Wilson for a while.
Yeah,
and I know a lot of the guys in Steven's band and Nick Beggs. We've actually wrote some songs together and stuff.
Oh, great. Nick is great.
He's great. So that was a fun experience too, I imagine.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, Guthrie is an amazing guitar player, and Adam is ridiculous keyboard player. You know.
So it's good fun, I'm sure.
It was, yeah.
Nice. Let's get to your gear. We're at Sweetwater. It's all about gear here mostly. So you've been playing DW drums for a long time, and you and John Good have a really good relationship, right?
Yeah, well, John was my drum tech.
That's right. John was your drum tech for a couple of...
Zappa, Men at Work, and Allan Holdsworth.
I keep forgetting that John wasn't always building drums. I mean,
well, no, before that he worked with Madonna. Before that he worked with the Jackson 5 on their Victory tour, and before that it was with Earth, Wind & Fire.
So
he was a seasoned drum tech.
That's right. So how has that relationship built over the years? I mean, they make such amazing instruments.
Well, yeah.
How did you see
and Don Lombardi, I met him when I was 13.
Okay.
So it's just family.
Sure.
You know, we all know each other so well. And on the early days of DW, you know, they were tiny when they started. And when I started playing them in '82, I paid John to build me a kit. You know, and I had to like buy rims, go down to the music store, buy rims because they didn't make rims. They didn't make hardware except for bass drum pedals. They made the classic DW 5000 bass drum pedals. But he came up with this, you know, we talked all through the '82 tour about his ideas about drums, and it was one at a time, you know, and I did a ton of beta testing, especially for the hardware, and even different shelf figure configurations, and I had the first double pedal.
Okay.
The very first one, it was hilarious looking. It was like put together on a plate with U-clamps from Home Depot and like welded bar across. It was twisted because it didn't quite work right, and it never broke. Right? The thing it lasted. It was great.
Wow,
it was amazing.
That's cool.
It was like a tank.
I still have an old DW 5000 strap pedal that still feels good to this day. It's old now. But they'll last forever. Really.
Yeah, they do.
And so you've grown with that company, and you've seen where John has come to today. I mean, the instruments he makes now are just amazing. The woods he uses. So what is your main kit?
Now he has all the options. Because they have a budget to experiment with any exotic woods. Or
do you have a special wood that you like a main kit that you go to all the time, or do you kind of?
I have
experiment with a lot of them.
Most of my kits are the old Collector's Maple series, because most of my kits are old. I have my newest kit is a 2005 VLT, which is an unbelievably beautiful kit. It's Carillion birch, exotic wood on the outside. It has 6 piccolo toms and 3 racks, 3 floors, 2 bass drums. That's the kit whenever Terry Bose and I get together and do our drum duet shows, and I'll use that because there's more notes. Just because we used to get into these kind of sequence things, not with electronics, but playing them, and then he would start modulating, and I just goes, wait a minute, I can't modulate. I only have 5 toms here, so I extended it when I started playing with Terry.
Cool.
Which is fun, but for the normal gigs, I don't bring.
Yeah, you don't bring all that stuff.
Yeah, for session stuff, it's usually 2 racks, 2 floors.
Okay. Yeah, typical setup. Yeah.
Well, I think I'm gonna. I really, really love their cherry wood kits, and also this cherry mahogany that I've been playing at Sweetwater here is just unbelievable.
We have a cherry gum kit as our main kit in the recording studios here, and it just records beautifully all the time. Yeah. It's really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I just have never heard anything better from any other company, and it's. Once in a while, I'll have to be at some festival or something in Europe. You just have to play a house kit.
Right.
It's it's not inspiring. When I play the DW stuff, you get inspired by the tone. It's like a guitar player. When their tone's right, they play better.
Right.
And
Well, John brought the Purple Heart snare, which everybody will be seeing pretty soon here, and I got a chance to play with it and live with it, and boy, that's a beautiful drum as well.
Yeah, it is.
So it's really nice to see, because we're building a relationship here with John and the company, and it's growing so much, and we sell more performance drums, series drums, than anybody in the country now, and so it's really fun to dive into this brand. It's really cool. And you've been a Peisty guy for many years as well.
Yeah, 33 years as well.
Wow. So what a great company. My first set of real cymbals when I was a kid was a set of 2002 Sound Edge hats. Because we lived right over the hill from the Brea office of Peisty. So my brother went to high school with the guys, so I used to go down and I got a set of those 2002s, and so I've been playing them for quite a while as well. And they're beautiful cymbals. Tell us about your career with Peisty. What's your
the cymbals that are
which line do you play most
the
of the
most
time?
flexible? I can use them for everything. They're Dark Energy series.
Yes, they're nice.
And there's 2 risers, a Mark 1 and a Mark 2. The Mark 1's drier. Okay. The Mark 2 has a little more breath in it, and they're just beautiful. It's an amazing combination of this, it still has a bit of that pristine high-end Peisty sound to it, which condenser mics love.
Sure.
And when you're doing a mix, it used to be because when a lot of drummers record now, they have their own. A lot of guys have their own studios, and you realize when you start mixing all these instruments together, the bass, the guitars, the keyboards, and drums, cymbals, vocal. There's a lot of frequencies that everybody has.
Sure.
So then
you have to figure out what to notch and.
Yeah, and typically in the old days they would just turn the cymbals down, and then when I started playing with Peisty, they had this high end that wasn't in the frequency range of anything else, so they could turn the cymbals back up in the mix and just sat nicely up there. So it's like, well, this is working much better, because a lot of things you play, if things are in balance, it just doesn't.
Sure.
For our ears, it's not right.
Right.
A lot of the energy and the fire in drumming comes from the cymbals. You turn that down and it becomes not what you meant.
Right.
So that's always been a factor.
Cool.
And all their cymbals. But the Dark Energies have this really nice kind of combination that high end, but has enough low mids in it where it's kind of earthy and a little bit gritty sounding.
Sure.
So it has that kind of personality.
Yeah.
So it's a really nice blend. And these Masters cymbals that I was playing on the second kit were much more in the jazz but aggressive kind of jazz. Big, it's 18 and a 20-inch crash and a 22 ride, and I hit it a couple times, and Garrison, who works at DW, was just floored. He said, "What's that?" So it's real fun. Their lines have expanded so much.
Sure.
They used to be pretty much bright and pristine, and now there's bright and pristine, and there's all the whole dark and warm.
Well, I can tell that with a lot of the cymbal companies. Dark is a sound that everybody's trying to get now. So, and I find it works well with a lot of things.
It does, yeah. But as far as the Dark Energy, I can play bebop on them. I can play metal on them. I've used them with Stephen Wilson, full bore, kind of arena volume, and
They perfect. Work out great. Yeah. Cool. You're also an Evans player?
Yeah, for a long time.
So, and what do you use mostly when you play with Evans?
I like single play heads.
Just G1s?
I love G1s.
Yeah.
I love G1s, yeah. On the snare, I'll use a power center reverse dot.
Right.
Best bass drum sound ever for me is the EMAD.
Yeah.
Single ply EMAD with the smaller ring in it, and then a EQ3, on a front and one EQ pad. So it's a fairly open drum, but it's really low pitched. You put other brands of heads on your bass drum, and the note doesn't start that low. It's really interesting. Like because you tune a drum, you get the paper out of it, so the wrinkles are out, and you get it to your lowest fundamental note. With the Evans, it starts at a lower pitch for some reason. I don't know why, but it's true. You put another brand on, and I can't get the bass drum to sound low enough unless I went to a bigger drum.
Right.
But I don't want to go bigger than 22. So
there you go. Cool.
No, it's brilliant.
Nice. So Chad, thanks so much for coming to Sweetwater. It's great to have you here. We hope
Thanks
to have you come
me.
back and do some playing and some more stuff. I'm sure opportunities will arise. Good luck with all your future endeavors, and definitely encourage everybody out there to Google Chad's name. If you don't know it, if you've never heard him play, definitely encourage you to check it out. There's so many wonderful records and YouTube videos of Chad playing. Check it out. You'll learn a lot. And
thanks. And if you want to go to chadwackerman.com, you can see my latest CDs and all that on there.
Fantastic. Thanks for coming.
Appreciate it so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Our thanks to Nick and Chad for a great interview, and thank you for joining me for the Sweetwater Minute. I'm Mitch Gallagher.